The Reverse Current, an American Apocalypse. The Hook. Imagine a world where the earth beneath your feet doesn't just shake, it breathes. Imagine a night so dark that the stars vanish, replaced by a sulphurous green mist, where the mighty Mississippi River, the lifeblood of a continent, stops dead in its tracks and begins to flow upstream. This isn't a fever dream of the end times. It is the winter of 1811 in the American heartland. For those living on the frontier, the world didn't just break, it rewrote the laws of nature. Chapter 1. The Portent. The air in New Madrid, Missouri Territory was unnaturally still on the evening of December 15th, 1811. Silas Thorne, a flatboatman who had survived the rapids of the Ohio and the cutthroats of Cave-in Rack, felt a chill that had nothing to do with the winter frost. The animals knew first. In the thickets along the riverbank, the birds had gone silent at midday. Cattle lowed with a mournful, guttural vibrato that vibrated in Silas's chest. He sat on the edge of his boat, the Deliverance, watching the tea-colored water of the Mississippi. To the uninitiated, the river was a highway of commerce. To Silas, it was a sleeping titan. "Something's brewing, Silas," whispered Elias, a young deckhand barely 17. "The Creek elders in the hills, they're saying the great horned serpent is turning in its sleep." Silas didn't scoff. He had seen the sky turn a bruised purple. He had felt the earthquake weather, that heavy, claustrophobic pressure that made every breath feel like swallowing silt. At 2:15 a.m. on December 16th, the Titan woke up. Chapter 2. The Liquefaction of Reality. It began not with a bang, but with a roar that sounded like 1,000 steam engines screaming in unison. The ground didn't just tremble, it undulated. Silas was thrown from his bunk as the riverbed erupted. Under the pressure of the seismic waves, a phenomenon known as soil liquefaction turned the solid Missouri earth into a deadly soup. Geysers of black sand and prehistoric coal, buried for millennia, shot 30 feet into the air, smelling of rotten eggs and ancient decay. "The river!" Elias screamed. Silas scrambled to the deck. By the flickering light of a nearby cabin fire, he saw the impossible. The Mississippi River was churning into massive whirlpools. Great fissures opened in the riverbed, swallowing millions of gallons of water. Then came the fluvial tsunami. A massive wave of water, choked with uprooted cypress trees and the debris of shattered flatboats, was surging northward. The river was flowing backward. Chapter 3. The Strange Phenomena. As the weeks turned into months, the American frontier became a laboratory of the surreal. This wasn't a single quake, it was a sequence of over 2,000 shocks that would last until February 1812. Historical fact points integrated into the narrative. The earthquake lights. In the pitch black of the Missouri nights, survivors reported flashes of light emanating from the ground, seismic electricity generated by the crushing of quartz crystals in the bedrock. The bell of Philadelphia. The shocks were so powerful they traveled through the dense craton of the North American plate, ringing church bells as far away as Boston and vibrating the walls of the White House, where President James Madison woke in a cold sweat. The Real Foot Lake. In Tennessee, the earth sank so abruptly that the river rushed in to fill the void, creating a massive new lake over the drowned remains of an ancient forest, a lake that remains to this day. Chapter 4. Tecumseh's Prophecy. Deep in the heart of the narrative lies the political tension of a young America. The great Shawnee leader Tecumseh had predicted this. He had told the tribes of the South that he would stamp his foot on the ground and the white man's houses would fall. When the quakes hit, many indigenous nations saw it as a divine mandate to resist the westward expansion. Silas, caught between the world of the river traders and the brewing war of 1812, finds himself a witness to the intersection of geological fury and human ambition. why this story resonates with a U.S. audience. Untapped history. While most Americans know about the San Francisco quake of 1906, the New Madrid sequence was actually much more powerful, estimated 7.5 to 8.0 on the Richter scale. Survivalist spirit. It taps into the frontier myth, the grit and resilience required to survive when nature turns hostile. Scientific wonder. Explaining the Mississippi running backward and sand blows provides a high-interest educational hook.